Hello there, Alton Community Unit School District number 11, teachers and staff. This is Dr. Young here, and I'm excited to come to you for this presentation of evaluation as a PD tool. I am excited because the Joint Committee has met and there's been some updates to the evaluation tool and the evaluation plan for Alton School District. And I get to bring those updates to you. A little bit about me that the reason why I'm excited about this is I am a state trainer to train principals on becoming teacher evaluators, on retraining principals on the evaluation process. So I do like this thing called evaluation, and I do believe that the evaluation should be a PD tool, the best PD tool for you as an educator to grow. So let's talk. Remember, the mission and vision here for Alton Community Unit School District 11 is vision. That's direction. Mission is the what. Our vision is to cultivate, create, and build. And our mission is to establish, ensure, empower, and envision. So when I think about that, when it comes to the evaluation tool, our vision is to cultivate, create, and build you up as educators so you can establish, ensure, and empower and envision your students achieving more than you ever thought was possible. My leadership goals as a assistant superintendent here in Alton School District are three things and will always be three things. One, to have schools that have innovative and effective teaching strategies. Two, the place that there are meaningful disciplines centered around traditions and celebrations. And three, having schools and classrooms full of enthusiasm, purpose, and rigor. So, notice of evaluations. All staff members should receive by day one of student attendance a notice of evaluation, including who your evaluator will be. As some updates is that certified staff, non-tenured staff, and tenured staff rated needs improvement or unsatisfactory, you should expect during the evaluation process to have a beginning of the year conference between August and September, a minimum of 3 observations, that is 2 formal and an informal observation and evidence collected, then a summative conference and evaluation rating by March 1. Tenured staff that's rated excellent or proficient, know that you are on a 3-year cycle. That is 3 years. It used to be 2, but it's 3 years because the legislature finally valued you as educators and knew that this 3-year cycle is something that is possible. So in 3 years, your evaluator can collect data or evidence for your rating on the framework. So anywhere in the 3 years, you can use any student growth data during that 3-year time, and they can have informal observation data during that time. But knowing that for that formal, there is at the beginning of the year, you should have a beginning of the year conference. And in that 3-year cycle, you have a minimum of 2 observations. That is in a formal and formal observation. And then by March 1 of the 3rd year of your cycle, you should have that summative conference that gives you your summative rating for your evaluation process. Now, I do want to make it very clear. There's a difference between informal observation and walkthrough, instructional walkthroughs. Informal observation is a thing that goes towards your evaluation, and data can be used for that. Informal observations is part of the evaluation process. But instructional walkthroughs are when we will walk through and look specifically at instructional practices to understand the instructional inventory that is happening within the district and instructional practices so that we can better serve you as instructional leaders. I believe that building leaders are learning leaders leading learning organizations, and you are part of that learning organization. And we only know the learning taking place by observing through our instructional walkthroughs. Formal observation. A formal observation is an observation that is a minimum of 45 minutes or 1 class period and must incorporate them seeing the beginning, the middle, and the end of your observation. There's a set of conferences that goes along with formal observations. There's a pre-observation conference that should happen no more than 10 work days prior to. Then a post should happen within 10 work days after. An educator must receive written feedback following a formal observation before or during the post-conference. The educator may request a follow-up conference within 5 school days if additional evidence is needed to provide it after you've had that post conference. Informal observation, again, is an observation that lasts about 10 minutes and does not need to be announced. There are no conferencing requirements around informal observations, but it is expected that post observation conference will be scheduled where you get your information. Written feedback must be provided within 10 working days after the informal observation if that's going to be used towards your evaluation rating. Getting into the tenure rules, there were some changes. As of August of last year, the new teacher rules went into effect to establish new tenure and accelerated tenure timelines. Teachers first employed on or after in the district after July 1, of 2023, can expect this. After 3 consecutive school terms, an overall evaluation rating of proficient, the second and third terms, the teacher will get tenure. If after 2 consecutive school terms, the overall evaluation rating is excellent, the teacher will be up for tenure. Now let's go through some framework updates. I'm going fast because I want to value your time, but you can always go back and watch this video, slow it down, get all the information to take in, but this is a highlight for you. Framework update. Just know that any update that happens is made by the Joint Committee, which is legally required by law. Alton's Evaluation Joint Committee consists of educators, association representation, and administrators. You can see the name of those who were part of the update and joint committee here through our district. If you have any questions, you may talk to any of these individuals about the framework update. So the Charlotte Danielson the Danielson group, updated the Danielson framework of teaching in 2022. Most districts, including our district, was using the 2013 version of the Danielson framework. The 2022 framework is updated in regards to the domain names and the components for which is inside of the framework. Now, for you, there will be resources that are shared with you that will have available for you. That is the comparison of the old with the new, the 2013 with the 2022. Understanding that here goes the clusters that Alton used to have. Alton School District does not use all of the 22 components within those domains. So you will understand that, and you'll have the 2022 framework of teaching document as a resource for you. So going through clusters 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the district. Cluster 1 used to be 1B, demonstrating knowledge of students, 1C, setting instructional outcomes, 1E, designing student assessments, 4B, maintaining accurate records, 4C, communicating with families. Cluster 2 was 3A, communicating with students, 3B, using questioning and discussion techniques, 3C, engaging students in learning, 3D, using assessments and instruction. And cluster 3 was managing classroom procedures, managing student behavior expectations, and cluster 4 was demonstrating knowledge of content and pedagogy, and 1D, demonstrating knowledge of resources and designing coherent instructions. Now, that was the old. Now, names of the clusters and of the components have been updated. So when we look at that, understanding that the Danielson group went through and they envisioned where each educator and student experiences safe and inclusive learning environments that promotes joyful inquiry, efficacy, building knowledge, and reflecting on practice or practices. So what's the same? You can expect that there are common themes that will come into play when you look at the framework for teaching to support and undergird the equity imperative. So when you look at the equity, here are the same components that you shall see: high expectations, developmental appropriateness, student assumption of responsibility, attention to individual students, and cultural competence. That is expected and weaved throughout the framework, as you will see. The framework for teaching equity imperative is that each and every student should have intentional and carefully planned opportunities to succeed emotionally, socially, and academically. Additional levels of social and emotional and academic support, tiered scaffolds, and appropriate academic content challenges for all students, especially for children in underserved communities, and the belief and support for every adult in their lives of their intellect, their strengths, and their capability. Understanding that We have a commitment to excellence. And to have a commitment to excellence is not complete without a commitment to equity. And understanding that is aligned to our district initiatives and your school improvement plan. The district improvement plan and the school improvement plan, if you look at the equity imperative that was based off for the framework of teaching, it is centered around a sense of belonging, grade appropriate assignments and instruction, and professional learning communities that are effective that center around the teaching and learning practice that is happening. Those are things that you can expect the district and your school building and building leaders to be centered on. So, what are the new clusters? Cluster one is centered around planning and professional responsibilities. It's on these components and domains. 1B, knowing and valuing students. 1D, using resources effectively. 1F, designing and analyzing assessments. 4B, documenting student progress. And 4C, engaging families and communities. Cluster 2, instructional delivery. 3A, communicating about purpose and content. 3B, using questioning and discussion techniques. 4C, engaging students in learning. And 3C, engaging students in learning. And 3D, using assessment in learning. Cluster 3, classroom management. 2A, cultivating respectful and affirming environments. 2B, fostering a culture for learning. 3C, maintaining purposeful environments. 3D, supporting positive student behavior. And cluster 4, competency and subject matter. 1A, demonstrating knowledge of content and pedagogy. 1C, setting instructional outcomes. 1E, planning coherent instruction. And 4E, growing and developing professionally. Again, the Joint Committee agreed on these components and those changes into the evaluation plan. Please know that all this is done because it's for their children, our students, but Alton's future. Your impact is deep and your reach is far, and it all starts with clear objectives and outcomes inside your classrooms to get our students tomorrow to be brighter than they're today. Thank you so very much for paying attention to this wonderful professional development opportunity, and have a great day.